Hey, FrightFest Television here, and I'm delighted to actually welcome Maika Monroe, star of The Guest, and soon you will see her in It Follows. Let's talk about The Guest first, Maika.
Yes.
I mean, you are so great in it. But how did you get the job? And was it just a case of going up for an audition? Did you know anything about it at all?
I read the script prior to going into the audition, and in the room I met Adam and Simon, and I remember we just all clicked initially. Like, it doesn't normally happen, and obviously you've met them, and they're such unique people, especially in this industry. So walking in was just all of a sudden like, oh, this is comfortable, this is easy, and we had so much fun in the room. And then after I met them and I started kind of doing my research and saw You're Next, and started looking into Dan because he was attached, and I just kind of was like, oh my god, I have to do this project. And so I remember sending them an email and saying, I need to play this girl, I need to be in this movie, and ended up getting the job, so I was very excited.
What did you like about the script? You are a horror fan, you said
Yes.
last night on stage. Really?
Yeah.
You watched like more or less everything, or so you actually do know where it's all coming from.
I guess what really sold me was seeing You're Next, because it's such a unique take on horror, and it was something watching that and then thinking, okay, how they want to make The Guest. You get a kind of a hint of what they want to do and bring that comedic. It just is refreshing, I think, in horror, and then throwing Dan in there, where it's just like, what? How is he going to do this? And so it seems so unique, and just kind of what they wanted to do with it, I guess really drew me to it.
Was the comedic, the flair, it's pretty endemic in all their films. Was that pretty much, you really got that?
Yeah. But, even going into the initial audition, I didn't really know, because I hadn't watched Your Next prior to going in. I was just going in like, yep, all right, here. And then after meeting them is when I got it. And so I guess just my sense of humor, when I read the sides for the audition, I was just kind of like, well, seems like it'd be kind of this dry kind of, I guess, and they liked it.
Tell me a bit about your whole career. Where'd you come from? Did you study acting? How did it all happen?
Well, no, I didn't at all. Even when I was younger, I enjoyed school plays, but never was like, I want to be in movies at all. And actually, I was at a dance company, and I was about 13, and a producer or production company contacted my dance studio and was like, we need young kids as background dancers for our film, and it was a horror film. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, sounds fun. Nothing more than just, be an extra in a movie, whatever. And I remember walking on set and just being in awe of it. Not only seeing how a movie was made, but a horror movie with the gore and the blood and the knives. It's called Bad Blood.
All right.
You probably have never, And so I fell in love with it, and was behind the camera the whole time just watching. And I didn't have to be there. I was an extra. And I got to know the director really well, and so he ended up writing me into the script. And I had one line, I think it was like, yes, grandpa, or something stupid. But then you become SAG eligible, and so it just kind of started from there.
Oh, wow. Until you've gone on and on.
Yeah.
Because, we just said the bling ring, you're hardly in it, really. Blink and you miss you, really.
Yeah.
So, but did you have a bigger part, or was it in the bling ring?
No, it was actually in between filming Adony Price and Labor Day. So I went in initially and for a different role, and then filming didn't work out, and she was like, well, do you just want to be? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to work with Sofia Coppola, why not? So it's just, a day, yeah.
Okay. Tell me how the Guest filming was. Was it good fun? Was it hard work?
No, yes and no. We really created an amazing family on set, and Adam is a very special director. He knows exactly what he wants. He's very specific, down to every detail. And I think when you have complete trust in your director, then it opens everything. And he's like, okay, wait, let's try it this way. Let's try something different here, and maybe make a different reaction from Dan, or vice versa, and just kind of playing around. And obviously Dan is hysterical and so much fun. You have Simon and Adam, and we just had a blast. Yeah.
The whole Halloween maze stuff.
Oh God. Terrifying. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was a real Halloween maze that a family does every year for Halloween, and they start, in June building this.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so it's on this big farm where they massive, and I'm terrified of clowns, and there was a section in the maze we have to run through where there are like really very scary clown masks, and they wanted to put real people in masks so they would be moving while we were running through, but very robotic. So we did it a few times, and the clowns are just moving back and forth, and everyone knew how terrified I was of clowns, and so they decided the last take to have the clowns jump out at me, having me have no idea this was going to happen, and I freaked out, like, oh my god, get me out of here, get me out of here, and just trying to run, and everyone's laughing. I was very angry at the time. Now it's funny, but it was terrifying, that maze.
I mean, first reaction when you saw The Guest, I mean, can you actually be removed from it and actually look at it as how great it actually turned out to be?
Well, the first time that I watched it was with an audience at a Sundance Film Festival where it premiered, and I was very nervous because I have a very hard time watching myself. But there was something kind of cool watching with an audience and see how they reacted, and kind of being, because I had no idea. I didn't know the music, I didn't know the edit, I didn't know at all how it was going to come together. So I was kind of in shock, and seeing everyone screaming and laughing, and it was like, wow, this is amazing. It really was.
So when did it follow? Did it come more or less straight after? Or?
Yes, I had I think a month in between, and then I went straight to It Follows.
Was it any old plan that you wanted to do like a horror film, then another horror film? I know The Guest is more a thriller.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. It was by chance that they came back to back. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm lucky enough to see It Follows 3 times,
Wow.
and I love it so much,
Yeah.
and I think you are so great in it.
Thank
really.
you. Yeah.
I mean, it must have been a completely different, feel and
very much so. Yeah. To be honest, it was probably the most intense 5 weeks of my life. You have seen it, so you can kind of understand more the not only physically but mentally challenging to another level, which I think sometimes people don't realize in what we have to go through in horror movies. It's very intense to go to the darkest places, and once I was done, I was like, whew. Like I had to take a week and just like sleep and do nothing and just relax, because it was incredibly intense, that shoot.
I mean, the film is incredible because it's actually a really simple idea.
It is.
And yet no one's thought of doing it.
Yep.
And you think, well, I wish I'd thought of that. You can't believe it, can you?
Yeah.
How was he, David Robert Patrick, the director?
Yeah, I mean, he's such an interesting guy. I hope you get to meet him.
I saw his last film. I
yeah,
thought it was,
yeah. And,
know.
and it's actually it's funny, it's a bit similar for me between Adam and David, because I had watched The Myth of the American Sleepover, and then reading the script. I mean, obviously very different types of movies, but yet you have a very normal group of friends put in an insane situation and kind of seeing how they deal with it. And exactly, there's something so simple but yet beautiful and dark in the film.
I mean, you think it's actually going on quite normally, then of course there's that amazing scene where he ties you to the chair and says, no, you've got to listen to me, this is what's going to happen. I mean, I think we're going to show that later on, and the other scene is the one where you're on the beach, which I think is that must have been quite complicated to do.
The hair.
The hair,
yeah. It was, we had our stuntman dressed in a complete green suit, zipped up, and he would sneak in, and then we had like this like plastic string tied to my hair, and we had to do it so many damn times, and then he's like pulling my hair, and I mean, well, you guys will see, but it was not easy to do. As simple as it looked, it was very difficult.
It was interesting that actually it got selected for the Cannes strand that it did. I mean, we were all quite surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, at
at
last, they actually choose something that we all want to go and see. So that was actually quite good. I mean, how was your Cannes experience?
It was my first time going to Cannes, and it was crazy. I think the coolest part for me, which is kind of the payoff in the end, is seeing how people react to the film. And I remember the last night there was like a big party for our section of the festival, and so many people came up to me and was like, "Your film is incredible. Like, it it's incredible. You did an amazing job, David, and that's like, okay. Like, that makes you feel so good, and that's the whole reason why we do this.
Every time I've seen it, you know the scene I mean, with the window.
Yes.
That's the scene, isn't it? Where
yes,
everyone just sort of goes,
yeah, exactly.
That's the one.
Yes.
I mean, it's great. Is this? Are you gonna? Have you done any more horror since? Are you going to do any more?
Well, my next project is very different. The next two projects are not horror. I think that I need a moment to just kind of relax but there's no question that I'll be back.
You better be, because I love you so much, and I know I'm probably don't want to call you a scream queen, but if you ever do become one, like, I mean, it did well for Jamie Lee Curtis. It's done well for.
Oh no, I mean, as I've said before, a huge fan of horror, so it's very fun to be a part of this.
I'm so pleased. I mean, you've suddenly come onto my radar in the biggest way, in a way,
thank you.
With two of the best films of the year.
Thank
so
you.
What can you
wow,
say?
thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Yes,
Maika, for being with us.
Yes, of course. Thank you.